Hello everyone. Once again, this is Chef Rahul from All India Sri Shivaji Memorial Society's College of Hotel Management and Catering Technology, Pune. I work in the food production department as an assistant professor and welcome you to the another video on fuels used in the kitchen part 2. As we have discussed few types of fuels, or the few fuels which we used in the kitchen as our heat source for cooking purpose and processing the food. There are few more fuels which we need to discuss and which are important in today's world to perform the cooking or food processing. Let's look at them. Wood. The wood is currently the largest use of energy derived from a solid fuel biomass. That means wood is used largely to produce the heat. It can be used for cooking and heating purposes as well, such as fueling steam engines and steam turbines, which generates the electricity. Now here I would like to mention the message of the current time is save trees and go green. As a food professional, we should take care henceforth to reduce the use. Rather, I will suggest to stop the use of wood and wood related heat sources. But as a part of study, we will continue discussing the wood as fuel. Wood is available as firewood in the forms of logs, boards, and blocks. It also have the byproducts or the subsidiary products, which is charcoal, wood chips, wooden sheets, wooden pellets, and sawdust. Now let's look at the advantages of wood. Wood provides good source of heat. It imparts the excellent flavor in the preparation, as everybody knows that if you cook the biryani or if you cook any dum preparation or if you grill meats over the charcoal or over the wood fire, it gets the flavor. It imparts the flavor to that preparation. Okay. Special utensils are not required. It's just you have to provide a base and the gap below the vessel so that you can put the woods and ignite the fire and get the cooking carried. As the advantages are there, you have disadvantages of wood as well. The amount of pollution it creates that it generates is a considerable point while using wood, as it pollutes the air with which we breathe. The amount of smoke it creates in the air increases the amount of carbon dioxide. Messiness, obviously with the black smoke, it creates the mess all over the place, and it also has the ash flying around after the usage. It poses the danger if left unattended. It goes out of control sometimes if you really don't take care of it properly, if you don't handle it properly. Fuel storage is required. Yes, you need to store the wood in a dry and cool place so that it doesn't get damp and doesn't get difficult to get ignite and produce the heat. It is not eco-friendly. Yes, it reduces the uh, green footprint and it increases the carbon footprint. So it is not at all eco-friendly. By reducing the trees which is cut for the wood, we are disturbing the ecosystem of the habitat. The next mostly used fuel is charcoal, which is sometimes called as coal. It is a black porous residue of burnt wood. Now, traditionally, it was used mostly for grilling and barbecuing. It gives the flavor to the meat, as I just mentioned in the previous slide while I was explaining you the wood. It gives a good flavor. The meat absorbs the flavor when it is been grilled over the charcoal, a smoky flavor which is preferred all over the world. Advantages of using charcoal. Comparatively, the cost is low and it imparts the flavor to the preparation, which is very flavorful and very pleasant. Disadvantages as well. The amount of pollution and messiness, same as the wood, it creates the smoke which has the carbon dioxide more. The special labor is required for operating the charcoal. The personnel required should be aware of the usage and the danger it poses. As the wood, when left unattended, is dangerous. The same way, charcoal is dangerous. Fuel storage is required, same like wood. Special utensils are required, which is of thick metal MS, which could resist the heat and the temperature, because the temperature which is created, rather the heat which is generated by the coal, is quite high. So the special utensils are required which will withstand to that temperature, as well as which could be easily cleaned when it becomes black with the smoke the charcoal produces. The next source of energy is solar energy. It is the radiant light and heat from the sun which is being used. It is the important source of renewable energy, as we know that it is a form of renewable energy. It is harnessed using a range of ever-evolving technologies such as solar heating. The example of this is a solar cooker, which uses the direct sunlight for its energy, which cooks the food. Some equipments of solar energy which are used nowadays are as powerful and advanced as the traditional ones. For example, the barbecues, the water heaters, water boilers, steamers, which are operated on the solar energy, the street lights. In that case, it helps reduce fuel costs and air pollution. The air pollution is not at all there, and the cost is also very low because the heat source is free of charge. It is available freely in the nature. Solar cooking is mostly a form of outdoor cooking, often used where minimal fuel consumption is required. Where the other fuels are required to be used less to save the cost, the solar cooking technology, rather the solar technology, is taken into consideration with if it is feasible with the cost and the installation of the equipments. Now the advantages of solar energy. Comparatively, operating cost is nil because once you fit the solar panel and the other required setup, then it is very low in the cost to maintain for maintaining as well. No air pollution is a great advantage of solar energy. Now the disadvantages. Sunlight is required for operating. So if you don't have the sunlight in your place, or if it's cloudy for a longer period of time, or if if it is raining, then the amount of solar energy is obtained is very low. Okay, for solar energy equipment, if you have to use them outdoor. You cannot have them inside the kitchen and operate. Okay? It requires more time for cooking, as the electricity equipment, as we have seen in part 1, that it takes some time to get heated. The same is with the solar equipment. It requires some time to reach the temperature, which is comparatively more than the LPG and the wood. Lack of flexibility in use and special equipments are required. As you have seen, you cannot use it indoor, or you cannot use it with each and every cooking process or with each and every cooking equipment. There are very few restricted cooking procedures you can conduct with the solar energy, and also the equipments are designed for suitable cooking methods. So the special equipments are required. You cannot have all the cooking procedures, rather equipments for all the cooking methods with the solar energy. Now, with the for comparison of fuels, we can say fuels are energy providers, and the two most generally used in catering are electricity and gas. Solid fuels, oils, and bottled gas are also used in some kitchens, but in restricted forms or with the limitations. Why? Because all requires the storage space. The supply of these solid fuels, oil, and bottled gas could be disrupted or could be disturbed by lack of transport. Solid fuels create dirt, dust, and fumes. The heat produced is not easily controllable with all the types of fuels like solid fuels, oil, and bottled gas. Constant attention is also required to keep the fire under control. You need to have the knowledgeable or the trained people to handle these kind of fuels so that you can use them to the fullest with the proper precaution and not get harmed with it. Now, as a kitchen professional in the future or at present, we should keep few things in mind when we are choosing our fuel source or when we are choosing our heat source. The first and very important is safety. How safe the fuel source is. Cost, of course, is the second point, where the cost should be low. Available intensity of it, how much heat would be produced by that fuel, and what is our requirement, what is the kitchen operations requirement is, that needs to be considered. The requirement of the storage space and the precautions to be taken for the same. The constant supply, it shouldn't get disrupted or disturbed with any kind of issues with the transportation. The cleanliness and ventilation required, especially with the fuel like wood and coal, where you need to keep them, rather you need to keep the space, the storage space clean and tidy so that they don't, rather the space doesn't get messy and hard to control. Also, the ventilation is required for these kind of fuels as they produce a greater amount of carbon dioxide while they are burning. And the cost of equipment installation and its maintenance. Obviously, the equipment which we are going to use the energy through for cooking and processing the food, the cost of those equipment and their installation and their maintenance so that they perform constantly and smoothly, giving the maximum benefit. So this is what we need to consider as a food professional. And here again, I would like to mention that save trees and go green. Reduce and stop the use of wood and wood related energy sources. It would help to our ecosystem and our habitat to have a healthy atmosphere and good system in place for all of us. Hope you have liked the information which I have shared. Thank you for listening and hoping that you will implement this information in your actual performance in your kitchen operations or while you're cooking the food. Thank you.